What's up, travelers, from the world's most random ultra long haul flight, which is potentially also the world's most epic ultra long haul flight. In this video, I'll reveal what this 15-hour flight is, why it's so amazing, and why it exists in the first place. Let me take you back a few hours. This video will have two parts. The first part is a typical kind of review where I share the onboard experience and what made this flight extra special to me. But then you'll want to stay tuned for the last few minutes of the video where I explain how can this airline possibly sustain a 15-hour flight from a small airport all the way across a huge ocean that lasts 15 hours. How are they making this work economically? Well, let's find out. Arriving at LAX is like trying to enter the gates of Walmart just as they're opening for Black Friday. Not to mention it's a terrible airport in so many other ways. But luckily, I wasn't flying from LAX today. Instead, I booked a flight from an airport approximately an hour away. For most people visiting Burbank, Claremont, Pomona, and even downtown LA, this is probably the most convenient long-haul flight possible. Pulling up to this airport is like night and day compared to LAX. You arrive and find a spot immediately with no need to worry about traffic or getting to your terminal on time. So where am I? Ontario Airport. Which airline am I flying? China Airlines. And where am I going? Nonstop to Taipei on a 15-hour sold-out 777-300ER flight. And no, this is not in Canada. This is Ontario, east of Los Angeles. Now you may wonder, why on earth does a city with 180,000 inhabitants have a direct 15-hour flight to Taipei, Taiwan? Well, that's just one of the things we're going to cover in this video. I'm also going to show you why this flight might be my new favorite ultra long haul flight in the entire world. So let's start with the thing that maybe makes this flight most unique. The fact that it departs from what is mainly a small regional airport, where 50% of the flights are operated by low-cost airline Southwest. This means that the airport is much smaller than most airports where you're going to be flying ultra long haul. The benefit of small airports is that the staff is generally much more friendly. The TSA agent was smiling, asked me how my day was going, and even told me where I could fill my water bottle without me asking. Wow. It took 2 minutes to walk to the furthest gate, which is presumably the only gate that can handle an aircraft of this size. Every agent I interacted with at the gate was smiling at everyone and genuinely seemed to love their jobs. Boarding was also on time and efficient, and 30 minutes after arriving at the airport, I was sitting on the plane ready to jet off for 15 hours to Taipei. Welcome on board China Airlines Flight 23. So I'm all settled into my seat, and oh my gosh, I had forgotten how stunning China Airlines cabin is. Here's my seat, 21A window seat, second seat in the backwards back cabin. Seat behind me, and my seat right here, looking really nice for this 15-hour flight. Honestly, they may actually have my favorite looking cabin in the world. Where else do you get a cozy personal lounge? Not only that, but the seat is one of my favorite, if not my number one favorite reverse herringbone seat in the world. So let me show you around and explain why. Pre-taken video monitor, so much storage. Headphones, more storage, seat controls, reading light, even more storage. the flight is completely full. There's over 300 people on board, which is pretty crazy. The purser came around and introduced himself and really, really genuinely seemed to love his job. And he really seemed happy to see us on board, which you guys know makes me so happy in return. Maybe he also loves flying from Ontario. How about we have a look at these bad boys now, shall we? Then the flight attendant came around to take meal orders, but I told her I'd forgotten to pre-order my vegetarian meal, which is the first time that has ever happened for me. What, on my longest flight ever, 15 hours. On my 15-hour flight, I forgot to order a special meal. Really? So when I told her, the flight attendant looked so concerned. She said she'd go check in the galley to see what they had. And 1 minute later, she was back. She checked they catered one vegetarian Western dish. So she told me she would veganize it for me. How impressive. Which meal would you order? Let me know in the comments below. What? Look at this kit. There's a carabiner inside. That's so practical. Oh my gosh. I will definitely be reusing this one. We even get slippers, but no pajamas. Luckily, I brought my own pajamas. You guys, the flight attendants improvised this meal for me. How amazing is this? It's time for soup. The flight attendant is improvising this meal with ingredients she has to make it entirely vegetarian for me. She brought me vegetarian soup, which I didn't even know they had. I am mind blown. Time for the main course, some delicious looking pasta that she found for me. See what the flight attendant just made me. I am speechless, at least 90% speechless. Oh my god, she made me this for dessert. So here is the cheese plate fruit. This insane thing. So from start to finish, the 4-course, I guess 5-course, but maybe 4-course meal service is done. It's done in 40 minutes, which is just insanely efficient. And how much time do we have left? We have 12 hours apparently, so it's been 3 hours of me just lazing around. I think I'm going to get ready for bed, change into my pajamas, brush my teeth, all that stuff, and hopefully I get 8 hours of sleep. That would be amazing. Alright, we have this cozy bedding here. I'm gonna make the bed. How cozy is this? Let's head to bed, guys. This is just too cozy. Good night, you guys. Hopefully I'll see you in 8 or 9 hours. Let's see. I got 9 hours of sleep. That is insane on a flight. I still have 3 hours to go, which is even better. So I was browsing through the entertainment system after, like, it's weird to just start watching a movie once you've woken up. But 9 hours of, like, amazing, super comfortable seat. The bed is, like, seriously the best reverse herringbone I've ever had for sleep. It's so spacious, so comfortable. So I was browsing through the entertainment system trying to figure out which movie I should watch, and the entertainment system is so good as well. Breakfast is here. I think she made me this dish as well. I also got some fruits, which is delicious, and some bread. I've already decided I'm going to order some instant noodles after this as well. So far, I I decided to write a little thank you note for the crew for being so amazing, especially to Julie, is her name, for doing magic with my meal and keeping me well fed on this 15-hour flight. So if you have good service, always try to leave feedback. It's been such a big difference, and it takes 2 minutes to write. So you guys, we're coming in for landing in Taipei, and I have to say, I think this was one of the best flights of my life for a number of reasons. I mean, mainly, everything just went so smoothly. The airport experience wasn't stressful at all. I managed to get a window seat, the crew fed me really well. I even got 9 hours of solid sleep, which is crazy. I didn't realize until this flight how big of a difference the cabin design makes and how you feel. And just the wooden finishes, the little light over there, all that stuff just made it feel so homey. I think I might have found my new go-to flight between Asia and North America, or at least the US. And as always, this flight was paid entirely by me, using 85,000 Delta miles this time and just $5 in taxes. By the way, I have no relationship with Ontario Airport or China Airlines. I'm sure they'll be very happy about this video, but genuinely this is just me being so excited about this experience. So why does this random route exist to begin with? Well, I'll say goodbye now and I'll hand it over to Narration Dan to explain the rest. So the question you might have been asking during this entire video is, why on earth does this flight exist when Ontario Airport doesn't have a single other flight outside North America? Not only that, but why would China Airlines take on the additional costs and lose out on economies of scale by operating to 2 different airports in Greater Los Angeles? Well, there are a few reasons. Firstly, subsidies. This is such a trigger word for US airlines, but US airports gladly pay subsidies to anyone and everyone who is willing to expand into their markets. In this case, Ontario Airport offered to waive all landing and terminal fees for any airline that could start long-haul service from their airport. This amounts to thousands of dollars per flight, and Ontario is going to be far cheaper to operate from than busy LAX to begin with. Shifting the service to the smaller airport reduced those costs significantly, even though the subsidies were really only supposed to be for the first year. The second reason is that there's a large Chinese and Taiwanese population living in East Los Angeles. As I mentioned, my flight was completely full with over 350 passengers on a random day in November. This is a daily flight, meaning the airline on many days carries over 700 passengers between the 2 cities. There's no competition at Ontario, and on many dates the airline can charge a premium for this route over the LAX route where they compete with EVA. And this brings me to the last reason. For most people living in East Los Angeles and the surrounding areas, Ontario Airport is just the superior option, making it worth a small price premium. Going from Claremont to LAX can cost hundreds of dollars in an Uber depending on the time, and parking fees at LAX can also rack up. Being able to travel 15 to 30 minutes to a non-congested airport with potentially cheaper parking is worth a small premium, and China Airlines has tapped into it. Thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. I'm sorry I've been so absent on Nonstop Dan the past few weeks. More frequent videos are coming from now on, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm also working on another project where I can share my travels with you guys along with Oscar on our YouTube channel, Oscar and Dan. We just uploaded the first video from one of our most incredible travel experiences ever. I'll put the link to that video at the top of the description. If you made it this far, I know you are a true supporter, so I can't wait to interact with you guys over there as well. But anyway, I'll see you very soon for another video. Until then, as always, fly safe.